What's up, you guys? How y'all doing? So, UH softball returned home after their first season sweep of the season, and that was at Cal State Bakersfield, where they won the following three games 9-0 in 5 innings and 8-5 and 8-6 in their doubleheader. So, UH softball returned home for what was supposed to be a 3-game series with UC Santa Barbara. And that is the team where UH men's basketball has had a lot of trouble with in the past few years, this year included, having lost their last 7 straight meetings, going back to 2022 on the road. But anyway, I was glad to be in the audience in front of a game with UH versus UC Santa Barbara, and UH came out the winners at least once. As you can see by my banner here, this is it. UH softball splits doubleheader with Santa Barbara, and I put this in because what's going on now, probably when I upload this video, what's going on right now is the fact that UH has to travel for 4 games. One that's probably going on right now by the time I post this video up. It's a 4-game series. Well, 3-game series, really, with Cal Poly, the team that's down at the bottom of the stack right now. And you shouldn't really take them for granted. But they're also playing a single match at CSUN because earlier in the year, the CSUN game got postponed due to bad weather. And once again, in the islands, the single match against UC Santa Barbara was rained out. So the Friday night game was a no-go. The Saturday doubleheader was, and it turned out to be really nice weather. So, and despite a little sprinkle here and there, it turned out to be a great day overall. And as you can tell by these 2 scores here, UH won the first game 4-3, but came up short 5-3 in the back half of the doubleheader. Now, I'm going to get into this a little bit, but before I do that, guys, just remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. I have one posted already, and I probably won't have one posted until this coming Monday. But we'll see what happens. I might throw in a Jeopardy game for PS, or not PS2, but the PC, Jeopardy 03 PC. But we'll see what happens. For now, you're going to see some more snippets from softball and basketball that I have yet to post as well. So anyway, with that being said, remember, guys, subscribe. Let's get into this.
Yes! Oh well.
Okay, UC Santa Barbara. I saw this team way back in 2023, and while that was the first game I attended where UH came out the losers, I believe that was the one. But still, the way that I see it, the way that I saw this doubleheader, I would definitely give them a B+. They played really well, UH I'm talking about, and they definitely had a chance to win, which is really good. And we're also coming down to the very end of Bob Coulin's tenure at the University of Hawaii, because this coming week, not this week, but next week, UH will be facing off against UC San Diego for the final part of their season. It's the final homestand of the season, the 25 season, and those will be Bob Coulin's final 3 games. He's been at the helm for UH softball since 1992, and after 23 years, or no, 32 years, or 33 years, I'm sorry, Bob Coolin is retiring. The 2026 softball season is going to feel really, really different. I know I've only been at softball for almost 3 calendar years now, but you know what? I like it. And the fact that I was assigned to the final 6 softball games for Kaleo made it extra special because every time I went, UH ended up winning. It's not like men's basketball where I've been there for 28 seasons. This coming year will be number 29 for me. And hopefully I'll be back there with the media, as part of the media, I mean. But we'll talk about that another time. So, in the first game, UH did really, really well. They won it 4-3. And they were very, very good in that game. The first home run of the day, in fact, the first hit of the doubleheader went to Izabella Martinez, who hit a double home run to put UH on the board.
Oh! Woo-hoo! There we are!
Izabella Martinez.
And for Bella Martinez to do that, oh, I'm sure she's got to be feeling like $1 million right then and now, because that's the kind of momentum you really want to take into what could be described as a long 4-game road trip, because Martinez had not hit a home run since the fall series when it was against Fullerton College, I believe. She had one there. And last year, she was looking for her first home run, and unfortunately, she didn't get it. But it took her that long. But you know what? Better late than never, because Martinez is really good. She can hit it out of the park anytime, any place, anywhere. I just think that, she's kind of had a bit of a dry streak going on as far as home runs are concerned. But she played really well. She got 2 runs. That was a double home run. And they really had to work hard to turn back UC Santa Barbara at least once. Now, Santa Barbara did make it very interesting how they managed to get on the board, and that was from a home run from Ainsley Waddell. And that was a solo home run. It was 2-1 after that. But fortunately, UH was able to respond back. And I was very, very encouraged that UH came in prepared, because 2 home runs, and I say 2 home runs. I'm going to talk about the second one in a bit. But hitting 2 home runs is a sure sign that you came prepared, or you had the right kind of breakfast that morning. Because Bella Martinez, she had the double home run. And although Santa Barbara tied it up at 3, thanks to a double home run of their own, UH would ultimately get the final say in the first game thanks to this home run from none other than Milan Ayat. Take a look at this.
Oh! Yeah! Up over and gone! We're back in the lead!
Yeah, that was a great home run. Had me thinking back to the game on my birthday where Ayat hit that double home run against Utah Tech to put UH in the win column at least one time. And I would have been so bummed if UH came away the losers 2 times on my birthday. But it didn't happen. So obviously that was a very good game for UH to win it 4-3. That's the way you want to win it. And Ayat hit that homer in the 6th inning. And I was thinking that they were going to take a lot of momentum into game number 2. And it looked like for a while that they were going to win that second game as well. Unfortunately, Santa Barbara struck first. And although UH found themselves in the lead eventually, thanks to an RBI single from Bella Martinez herself, because the whole doubleheader, for most of the scoring for UH, it was the Izabella Martinez show. Because she had a 2 RBI single to put UH in the lead. But unfortunately, Santa Barbara got a double home run that actually bounced off of Larissa Goshi's glove, and then it turned into a home run. And unfortunately, from that point on, it kind of ruined them a little bit. But overall, they didn't act like they were completely defeated, because UH still found a way to not make the game any worse. They were still able to stay in close proximity, and they gave themselves a chance to win. Unfortunately, it just didn't work out. In the final inning, Liliana Thomas hit one to left field, but instead of a home run, it was hit into foul territory. And it was out of the park, too, to make matters worse. Unfortunately, that kind of took the win. That might have deflated them a little bit, because I watched the broadcast again after I got home, and even the next day. I could see how irritated Liliana Thomas looked, and I don't blame her. It's her final season. It's her one and only season at home. And to lose a game that way, that's the kind of game that can kind of tear you apart if it's on your worst day. But overall, aside from that, I don't think Liliana Thomas had that bad of a day at all. I still think she did all right. I still think she pulled her own weight, to say the least. And the unfortunate part was, had UH swept their doubleheader, they would have moved up to second place in the standings, right behind Cal State Fullerton. Unfortunately, as it is, UH is now in third place, a half a game ahead of CSUN, who they're going to face next. So while I do think that they took a little momentum, the fact that they lost the doubleheader, or at least the back half of their doubleheader that way, that's probably going to stick with them for a little while. Although you certainly hope not. But if I'm Coolin and the UH softball program, I'm using that as fuel to the fire against both CSUN and Cal Poly. Because Cal Poly, they may be down at the bottom of the stack right now, but you don't take any team lightly, because they can take one away from you, especially in a game like softball where it's pretty much wide open, and you can score 10 runs in a game and lose, or you could score 2 runs in a game and win. But it just depends on how everything goes. So, do I look for a 3-game sweep against Cal Poly? Yes and no. You never know how good a team is, because one day they could be hitting it out of the park every single time, or they could be generating hits and maybe getting a lot of RBIs, or just getting a lot of hits in general and not getting that run. Like, I look back to the UC Davis, or not UC Davis, but UC Riverside. I talked about that in my recap there. In that second game, the second half of their doubleheader, UH still won that one 3-2 off of 3 runs in the final inning after Riverside got back-to-back home runs. And just when you thought it was over, UH turned the tables and still sent Riverside home the losers. twice. So all is not lost with this team. If they can pull off heroics like that, Cal Poly is going to have their hands full. That's for sure. I'm going to tell you that right now. Last year was kind of like a mixed bag. Now, this is also going to lead into my second point of why making up postponed games is really, really messy. And to be perfectly honest, I do think that the NCAA or the Big West should really look back into just leaving those games alone and just leaving them as not being made up. Because when you look back at when the pandemic hit and some teams had to bow out due to COVID-19 concerns, University of Hawaii was no exception. I may be talking about basketball just to make my point, but this is kind of why I feel like this process that they're going through is really, really messy. Like I said, like how my banner says. Now, earlier in the year, CSUN, their first game was rained out and was postponed and rescheduled for this coming Wednesday. In fact, they're probably playing right now as I'm talking right now, which leads me to feel that this process is actually hurting softball teams, especially UH, more than it's helping other teams out. Now, granted, University of Hawaii travels more than anybody in the Big West, obviously because we're geographically isolated from the continent. But is that our fault? No, absolutely not. It just goes to show that sometimes it may be best to just stick with what's working and make it really simple. Because if you have a complex way of trying to make up games that were rained out, now obviously I can understand if certain circumstances arise, like how last year when Cal Poly came here, we were supposed to play a 3-game series, and some inclement weather came during the Friday night matchup. And as a result, UH only got through 2 innings, or they only got to the second inning before a big rainstorm came in. The rain did not pass, and as a result, the game was halted and moved over into the Saturday doubleheader. So essentially, that 3-game series with Cal Poly and UH turned into a 2-game series. And I can understand that the NCAA might not be too pleased about that. If they were going to if UH had made some changes to the schedule and maybe gotten the doubleheader in before the rubber match, I think the NCAA could have lived with that. But like they did at UC San Diego, they moved the doubleheader a day early, and then they moved the rubber match to the following day. And as luck would have it, in UC San Diego, the rubber match, UH versus them, that got rained out. And it wasn't made up. So last year, UH had about 2 or 3 games that were rained out or canceled. And I say canceled because I'm talking about the Cal Poly series, because that turned out to be a 2-game series after the Friday game got halted. But what kind of made me really ticked off about that is that was the only time that aside from the Cal State Fullerton senior night doubleheader, Spectrum Sports had televised that one, and that Friday night game got halted and got pushed into the next day. So I can imagine that the Big West and the NCAA weren't too pleased about that. But there's nothing you could do about the weather. You can't control it. you can't do anything about it. If it rains, oh well. But the fact that they're actually talking about making up these games, just the way that they do that, it's not working. I'm going to say that right now. This may be a test process, but I really hope that the Big West and the NCAA do away with this makeup process, because while California does get rain, and in fact it rains all over the country, I don't care what state you live in, you're going to get rain at any time. And after UH's first game against Santa Barbara on Friday night got rained out, it was an easy decision. But the fact that they're actually talking about making up that game, I feel like that it's way too late in the season to even try to make up for it. And I do think that they should go back to what works. And that is, if the game is rained out, leave it alone, okay? You obviously can't control the weather. And if it works out, great. If it doesn't, then oh well. But the fact that they waited kind of long, when that game was way back in somewhere around March or something, the fact that they waited that long, I think that's the proof. That's all the proof that I really need to know that this makeup process is really messy. It's flawed, and it's really something that shouldn't be done. Okay? Now, obviously, I have no control over that, but this is just my take on the matter, because then the whole teams have to agree to make up the game, and while I watched the rebroadcast, head coach Bob Coolin was saying that might be a hard no to make up that Santa Barbara game on the road. And I can understand why, because, obviously Hawaii travels a lot more than anybody else in the Big West. Everybody knows that. But the fact that they're even talking about making up that game, I'm thinking to myself, why? Because if it's rained out, they should just leave it alone and make it simple, not be going all complex and everything, and make it do it one way, and then another. Then when it happens again, they change it up and do it another way. That makes everybody really, really confused, just like me, because I may still be relatively new to softball, but it's clear that this makeup process is not going to work. Okay? And that's where I'll leave it. So, anyway, guys, that's all for today. And remember, subscribe. We'll see how UH does in their 4-game road trip at CSUN, and for 3 games at Cal Poly. That'll start on Friday with a single match and then a doubleheader Saturday. That'll be on the road. Hopefully UH will come away with at least 2 wins. If you get 2 out of 3, you're feeling pretty good. But I still think that UH will keep a fire burning and still take a lot of anger, not only into CSUN, but also into Cal Poly. So we'll see what happens. So thanks, guys. Subscribe, and I'll see you all for my final softball recap against UC San Diego in 2 weeks. But I do have my recap of New Jersey to do for the Supercross. That's going to come likely on Thursday. So thanks, guys. Subscribe, and I'll see you all again. Malama Pono, everyone.
Oh! Yeah! Up over and gone! We're back in the lead!
Left on base for your University of Hawaii, Rainbow Wāhine.
Hawaii wins! Hawaii wins! Hawaii wins!